Up to 4 billion people around the world are believed to have watched Friday night's opening ceremony of the Beijing Olympics. Nowhere near as many people know the identity of the man who helped shape the spectacular. That's where our Martha Teichner comes in.
China set out to impress the world on Friday night. Who could possibly have created this? We'd like to introduce you to Shen Wei. Here he is back home in the United States a few months ago. That's right, the United States.
That's you're supposed to take his shoulder to down, then you go up.
Shen Wei slipped out of China in 1995. 40 years old, he's an American citizen now and has his own dance company in New York City.
Organized, as a one-piece movement.
The fact that the Chinese would be willing to invite him back to choreograph the all-important opening ceremonies of their Olympics tells you just how important a choreographer he's become.
Shen Wei's father painted this. I was so proud because I knew what this meant.
What does this mean?
That means wudao, which is dance in Chinese.
Charles Reinhardt, for nearly 40 years director of the American Dance Festival, has become a close friend of Shen's and his mentor.
When I saw Shen Wei, the hair went up in the back of my neck, and I realized it's one of those things where I knew what I was born for, which was to help the Shen Weis of the world.
Here, really slow.
Today, Shen Wei and his company are regulars at the American Dance Festival in Durham, North Carolina, where Reinhardt likes to tell dance students about how they met in 1990, after the ADF had sponsored China's first ever modern dance academy.
And each of the graduates decides on their own to do a little improv as they're coming forward to get their graduate. Brrr, boom, like this, Shen Wei included.
Yes, Shen Wei, long hair and all. It was a far cry from this, or this, or this. Dances he knows he could not have created without leaving China. He arrived in New York with no money, no job, no English, only his determination.
I want to keep going.
You had to leave to grow.
Yeah. I want to learn something I don't understand. I want to create something that I never done before.
He was born in 1968 during the Cultural Revolution, Mao Zedong's attempt to purge China of elitist culture. His parents, who spent their lives in Chinese opera, were sent to the countryside to be re-educated. Shen Wei himself spent nearly a dozen years studying Chinese opera and then performing before discovering modern dance. You can see a kind of before and after snapshot in this work he created in 2005, a startling fusion of the two.
When you look at his work and you're from the West, you think it's Chinese. If you look at his work and you're from Asia, you think it's Western. That's where he gets you. That's what's so extraordinary.
Shen Wei is constantly putting together what seem to be completely different vocabularies, painting and movement, in this piece his company performed at this year's American Dance Festival. The dancers smear each other with paint. They soak sock-covered arms in the bright tempera colors. As they dance, they create a giant painting, the size of the stage. The piece is called Connect Transfer. Shen Wei's ability to make connections between art forms and peoples made him the ideal choreographer for the Beijing Olympics. But a year into his work, he almost backed out. Did you ever consider saying no to working on the Olympics, knowing how controversial it's been?
Well, definitely I'm put in the middle of a spot, because I love Tibetan culture.
He's talking about China's ugly crackdown on Tibet this spring. Shen Wei has traveled to Tibet. He helped support an orphanage there with sales of a recently published book of his photographs. Tibetan Buddhism has influenced his recent work, but he decided he had a contribution to make.
I'm not trying to be Eastern or Western. I will try to make a bridge. It's part of who I am, my life.
So in the end, he went back to Beijing, back to the all-night rehearsals, back to the enormity of the project.
I'm excited, at the same time a little bit nervous.
He need not have been. 5,000 years of history unfolded flawlessly under those Friday night lights, the ancient as well as the new China Shen Wei is a part of. But tomorrow morning, he'll get on a plane and fly home
Here, catch bang.
to the United States.
Here you can catch some movement, some music.